Let me give you a quick introduction of what I'd like to do today. Many of you, and thank you, have already visited us at our press conference in Gotha, and we're very happy to see you there. And we've shown you many of the, let's say, hardware products there, and of course they'll all be at the trade fair as well. Today, what I'd like to talk to you about is a little bit what can we do, and what are the transport options to reduce CO2 today, and how can we do that as much as possible with an existing fleet. We at Schmitz Cargobull always believe that that's the best way of doing it. And then I'll talk to you about future solutions that we have made available, that we're bringing into the market, and a little bit about digitalization of trailers. And what I'm particularly proud of, everything that we present to you today will be sellable, is being sold as we're speaking, and is definitely available at the trade fair. So these are real solutions that work today. It's not the future, it's the present. And the present is also this. The reality is that the emission of greenhouse gases, especially when compared rail to transport on the road, rail is a lot more environmentally friendly. There's no way about it. You can argue whether this is right, and yes, it's from the Umweltbundesamt, and yes, they probably take it a little bit, but at the end of the day, there's a significant advantage. However, the reality is also that the railway system, at least in Germany and probably in all of Europe, is not capable of handling it. And when you see that we expect transport to increase by approximately 9–10% over the next years, you can see that railway transport is expected to increase by only 5%. And this is taking the more favorable approach of measuring ton-kilometers, which favors the rail. If you go into more short distance, medium distance transport, it's even worse. But we also see that intermodal transport is picking up. And that is why we also would like to push solutions that help intermodal transport. Again, it's still only a small chunk. Road transport will continue to be with us for a long time. And if you then calculate, and you can just very simply multiply out the one with the other, where does the CO2 emission come from? You see it's clearly from the. So if we are serious about reducing CO2, we have to do two things. We have to enable the shift to intermodal transport. That helps. But most importantly, we have to optimize the road transport. And yes, I do think we need to strengthen the intermodal transport. We need to build up the infrastructure. All that is being done. But I think we all know it's not going to happen in the next 5 or 10 years. And if we want to do something about in the next 5 or 10 years, we need to do it. Nevertheless, we at Schmitz Cargobull, we propose solutions that are really, what should I say, interlinking intermodal transport, where we have the ship, the railroad, and the road. And because of that, we favor, in this discussion of long trailers, we have the Euro combinations of 25.25 meters or the EcoDual. We strongly believe that the EcoDual is the way to go. It's two standard semi-trailers used together. It fits in with our philosophy of longevity. We also believe that if we want to reduce CO2 footprint, we need to use our equipment longer and not try to phase it out quickly. We galvanize our chassis, we do all things so that our customer is happy with the trailer for a long time. And this is a solution where everyone could use the trailers for a longer period of time. And yes, they fit into the intermodal concept. We do not have to redo the entire infrastructure, which will take forever. We don't have to redo the logistics flows. Everything is set up for the 13.6 meter trailer, and with the 13.6 meter trailers, the EcoDuo is the most efficient way of transport. And I said that these vehicles are already available. This is another slide, not so important, but you know, the 14.9 meter trailers, yes, you can put it onto a railroad, but when you have 3 meters internal height, it doesn't. There's only one wagon or wagon type. There's one wagon that can actually take them. So that's not really working out. And we're noticing this in the market. The market is taking more the EcoDuo. We're selling all trailers. And by the way, I should say this as well. Do I believe that therefore we should not allow these other types? No. There are certain uses where it makes absolute sense to use these type of trailers. If I know that I'm only going to drive 70 kilometers on the road, I need high volume, hey, I would take the 15-meter trailer. Makes absolute sense. But we're not going to win the CO2 war with that. If we want to win the CO2 war, we have to go to the standard trailers, 13.6 meter trailers. We have to make them more environmentally friendly than we before. And we've done a rough calculation, and I want to check my numbers here, that, and we heard last night, I believe, that if we manage to bring 100,000 e-trucks on the road, we have about 10 million tons of CO2 savings. If we manage to get a conversion rate of about 45% on these EcoDuos that can run on existing infrastructure with existing trucks, not taking into consideration that this can also be an electric truck, that this can also be a H2 truck. Even if you don't take that into consideration, we can save with an uptake rate of only about 40–45% only in the long distance. We can get up to 3.5 million tons of CO2 savings now. Not in 5 years, not in 10 years, now. And the other question is, do we have the political will to do this? Or is it not so important? Maybe it's not so important that we save CO2. And that's the reality, Joe. So, we can complain, we can lament, it doesn't help us either. So we said, let's move on. By the way, we're building these, we're selling them, 152 are on the road. And they're working very well. They're confirming the 25% CO2 reduction. So we're selling them in Sweden, in Finland, and in Spain. But that's all. I mean, we said, okay, we're not going to stop here. And by the way, this is a unit that's also combinable with the EcoDuo, as a second trailer. We've also managed to reduce the CO2 consumption by about 5 to 10%. Admittedly, 5%, 6% is what could come out, or should come out, when it's calculated. Certain drivers, and those are the drivers that tend to try to use these trailers, they drive very carefully, and they claim to reach up to 10% reduction in fuel consumption. And the concept here is very simple. We lower the roof in the back by 0.5 meter, it's quite a bit. And thereby the drag in the back is reduced significantly. It's a proven system. It's used with the mega trailers today already for loading and unloading. So we're using the same mechanism that we're using for loading and unloading here to lower the roof. And by lowering the roof, we can reduce the drag that we have in the back of the trailer. If the customer then needs to use the full height, he lifts up the roof in the back, he has the full height available. However, in most cases, he doesn't need the full height, and therefore, it's a good solution to save CO2. What else are we doing? We have swap bodies, insulated swap bodies. Several hundred units are running on this as well. Fully electric cooling unit. It takes the energy from the railroad and he works quite nicely in Switzerland. Again, one more way our Schmitz Cargobull is reducing in the present environment with the present systems the CO2 footprint of our customers. Finally, we will bring out the eCool Smart. We had shown it at the last trade fair, a fully electric, battery-powered unit. We are now bringing out an electric, battery-powered unit together with an axle. You can see this here. And with this axle, we managed to recuperate energy. And I'll be very frank here as well. It's not enough energy that we can recuperate just with the braking to fully cover the electricity needs of the cooling unit. So what we do is we steal some from the truck. Just do it. Nevertheless, it's an efficient way of becoming clean, and we do think in the future we will see this together with solar power, and then we should be completely self-sufficient in the trade. And here you can see the e-axle, something that everybody is bringing to market. We're doing this as well. We're doing it specifically when combined with the cooling unit. And with that, we have an overall system that's completely integrated. It can run independently. The first tests are out. We have a customer that's been running it for 6 months. And we were, of course, hoping that he would plug it in all the time. And he told me he doesn't plug it in. We were very surprised. We checked up on it. We actually had to tell him he has to plug it in at least once a month to recalibrate the battery. Learnings from these things. Why doesn't he plug it in? Because it's very convenient for him just to recuperate from the axle. And actually it's more efficient than using a diesel engine in the cooling unit itself. And then finally, we combine this with our, let's say, hardware that we have, and we combine it with our telematics that we've heard about before. It's standard by the way. I don't know if you know this. All our customers in the reefer units receive the telematic systems and use it as well. So that has to go really standard. But now what can we do with this? And this is, I think, a very interesting way of looking at things. We can take the data that we generate together with the customer, and we can look at his profile. Well, what is his loading profile? We have door sensors. We see when the door is opening, what the temperature is doing, and we can start using AI to then calibrate the cooling machine, especially for him for his use. This is something that we're working on for the future. However, we've used a lot of this data to already bring out, and I would consider this an absolute highlight, a new cooling unit with a 20% reduction in diesel. But the big highlight is the customer can get a photo, a flash over-the-air update to retroactively fit that electronics onto his existing cooling units. And he will have approximately a 20% reduction in diesel. Again, longevity, use your cooling unit longer, you get a flash update, and you can thereby reduce your CO2 footprint. This is something that, so as far as I'm concerned, nobody else, as I know of, nobody else can do this yet. It's completely new. It's a very similar upgrade that you get, on your iPhone. Tesla, I think, is doing this, and Schmitz Cargobull is doing it as well. So, with that, of course, we're ready in the digitalization of trades. I've talked to you about the hardware. We saw what solutions we can bring out to the market using that, what we do when we combine the two things. And let me talk a little bit about the digitalization. So I already mentioned, we have 69,000 paying units in the market. Customers are using the data. We expect to be at 250,000 by 2025. Our units work intermodally as well. So they will work on the train, they will work on the ferry, of course they work on the road as well. And yes, they do work worldwide. Russia is turned black. There's some Finnish guys out there, I don't know what they're doing, but they're running there apparently. Worldwide use of our telematic systems. In New Zealand, we have some customers, unfortunately, will be cut off, but it's really working worldwide, and we're very proud that we can make this available now for growth in our international markets as well. So, what about this data? And I think we all agree that the data belongs to our customers. And what do we do so that the customer feels comfortable generating this data? How do we make sure that it's not shared with somebody else, maybe his competitor, or somebody he doesn't want to share with? What we do is we collect all this data, we make it available with the data management center. Now, what good is data if I only have it for myself? It's only limited use as well. Yes, it helps me in analyzing, it will help us analyze the PUI units, but what good does it do for our customers if he only has it for himself? Obviously, he will put it into his transport management system, they can use it, he has a standard interface, all that's available. But he also needs to share it. So, what we would like to do is, we would like to make it available for our customer in such a way that he can choose how to share the data with his customers. And our data management center is not only a way of ensuring that it's his data, but he can also share it selectively with his customers. And that was a big request, and that's something that we're now bringing on as well. And I can also imagine that some of the customers don't want their data to be shared with the competing customers that they have. I would believe that McDonald's does not necessarily want the data to be shared with Burger King, and vice versa. Here, our customer can make sure that he will do just the McDonald's tour with McDonald's, the Burger King tour with Burger King. And how do we do that? Well, we integrate the data. We do want to make it available if our customer, if the owner of the truck or trailer wants to make it available, we will do that. He chooses it. We're working together, partners and competitors, and therefore we're filtering this data, and then he, on himself, can choose what he will pass on to the transport management system, to fleet management systems, to other external partners as well. Let me show you how we do this. There should be a movie coming now. I guess the movie is not coming. In any case, you can imagine it's kind of a filter where
transport logistics is changing. An increasing amount of business is only awarded if you are ready to share the telematics data with the client. But how do you keep control of your data? How do you ensure necessary transparency without exposing your network? And how do you connect to the necessary platforms needed to transmit the telematics data? Our Trailer Connect Data Management Center can help. The platform acts like a filter, allowing you to decide which data you share with whom. Every Schmitz Cargobull vehicle is equipped with Trailer Connect telematics as standard, and sensors record transport data at all times. For example, when a vehicle is loaded and unloaded, shippers can see this data on real-time visibility platforms. As a carrier, you must register yourself and your subcontractors to be able to transfer data automatically. But that leaves you with little control. Your network becomes transparent with a real-time visibility platform. Data protection must also be observed when passing on the data. That is why we developed the Trailer Connect Data Management Center. It is placed in front of the real-time visibility platform. You decide which data you want to share with your client. If necessary, this can be done on a journey-by-journey basis and can be completely automated. Simply register in the Trailer Connect Data Management Center, select the right platform from the menu, link it with the telematics from your vehicle, and collect the data in your own system. Secure data sharing in action.
And this, I think, explains it a lot faster than I could have done that. So thank you for bearing with me and watching that. But that's what we're doing. We're doing this today. It's available, and we will be selling this, offering this at the trade fair to our customers. So let me quickly summarize. Clearly, we need to shift to intermodal transport. We need to optimize road transport because that's going to be the only way we're going to significantly reduce CO2 if we really mean it seriously. The EcoDual, 2 standard semi-trailers behind each other, is a quick and efficient way to use existing infrastructure and existing trailers and existing trucks to do this today. And we need some political support to do this. In other countries it's working. I'm still hopeful they'll also come in Germany. And then yes, we offer lots of other solutions. We try to bring to market solutions that work and functions, that are simple to use, that are not damaged easily. You know, all the flaps, all these things, they're still available. We're offering them as well, but they're not really being taken up. With the new Eco Series, we have a solution that should work very easily and cannot be damaged. And then finally, we see that integrated digital solutions will help CO2 emissions as well. It will make us more efficient. We can use that data. We can use it for the cooling unit, as in our case, but we can also use it in analyzing the transport that we're doing. That, I think, gives you a quick overview of the way we're thinking, the way we're working, and thank you very much.